Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to the live. And we'll be going, our two words for today is commitment and doubt. We're going to start off with doubt. And I have the definition pulled up here. And replacing dad is my mom.
Hello.
And I have the definition pulled up for doubt. It's a feel uncertain about something. Like you're not you're like questioning if I'm able to do it or not. Fear or be afraid of something.
So in James 1:6, but let him ask in faith with no doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the winds. And then there's Proverbs 3:5-8. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your path. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. So we need to remember that sometimes we get that doubt in our head, or people will say sometimes you're on that fence. You don't know what way to turn or what way to go. Or should you do this or should you do that? And me and Derek was talking last night and today, and he came home last night and said something about the meaning of doubt. And then we talked a little bit about that last night, and Derek shared that we just shouldn't have any doubt. Well, today when I was sitting there and I knew that Mike wasn't going to be able to be here, the Lord put on me commitment. So when I was going through some things with commitment, one of the words that popped in my head, because it's the difference between commitment, is wavering. And I'm like, oh my goodness, wavering is doubt. And I went in and talked to Derek about it, and Derek shared a few more things about doubting, and I'm going to let Derek share on that.
What did I say? I'm not.
When you were talking about doubting and how we should be just right there.
Oh, because there was one question that was spoken at Crossroads, and it's stuck with me. Do you doubt Jesus? Do you, honestly, people sometimes do, but do you doubt Jesus on what he has planned for you? Do you question on, is this something that is going to be happening? Like,
is it real or not?
Is it real? Why even doubt Jesus? Because Jesus has a plan for you. You shouldn't doubt it. Not one hint of your body should be like thinking like, is this real? Is this what Jesus wants me to do? You shouldn't doubt Jesus. And I have a beautiful quote for that one. Doubt kills more dreams than failure will ever. Doubt will kill more dreams than failure would ever do. So you can sit there and doubt yourself on a dream that you had, or on God or Jesus. But if you just try and do it, failure doesn't kill more dreams than doubt will ever. So if you do it and you fail,
if you
stumble, you can still get out of there. But if you doubt yourself, you're just going back and you're like, okay, I can't do this. This is something that I can't do. And it aligns with fear. You're scared to do something. You shouldn't be scared to do something.
And I read off this quote to Derek too, because this one popped up on my computer today, and it says, those who aren't committed find failure. Those who are committed find a way. So sort of like Derek said, if you are committed to it, but you fall down, you can always get back up and go forward again, and you always will find that way. But if you don't have that commitment, you're going to find that failure, and then you're just going to give up and let the fear take over. There was another quote that kind of stuck with me, and it was Matthew 21:21, and And Jesus answered them, truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to that mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, it will happen. So we really need to choose that commitment and stay committed to what the Lord has for us, because when we have doubt, then we let all these thoughts and things take over in our mind. And we really need to stay focused on what God has for us, because God has that straight path for us. He has that way for us. So I know there's going to be people on here that watch that are struggling with that doubt or that having that fear. And, you know, I'll hand that over to Derek and let Derek, because I'm sure Derek's walked through some fear and some stuff, and let him share how he maybe focused on what God had for him and got out of that.
I don't know how I got out of there. I just stopped doubting myself pretty much. I just stopped doubting God on the path that He had for me. I just started committing to God, following God, and stopped with all the fear and the anxiety and all that stuff. I just stopped with all that. I honestly have not doubted a whole lot anymore. I've been committed with God, and I have not doubted Him one step of the way. I've walked with Him every single step of the way. And I have gone through spots where I have doubted myself. But then after I got out of that whole, like, is this right? Is this wrong? After I stopped thinking that what I was doing was bad or good, I just decided to just stay committed to God and focus on what He wants me to do. And I have 3 quotes right now. Another day, another opportunity to prove everyone who doubts you wrong. So every person out there, they may be friends with you. They may be like family to you, and they may doubt you with something. But there's always one thing that you always got to think is the next day you can prove them what you are doing is better, is another opportunity for them to change their mind and walk stronger with God than anything else. People may doubt what you say, but they will believe what you do. So what you do, they'll believe it. But if you just say it to them, they're going to doubt them. They're going to start thinking and doubting, because they're like, should I? Should I not? Is there a God? Is there not a God? Another one, doubt discovers difficulties, which it never solves. Believe is the word which speaks life. Believe is the word that speaks life, and doubt discovers difficulties which are never solved. They never get solved.
So a lot of people that walk through difficult times is because they're having this doubt or this fear, anxiety. A lot of the stuff that me and Derek are talking about tonight is a lot of stuff that I even bring up on Sunday mornings before we start the church service, and that there's so many people that are broken, and how they need to just find God and have that commitment to God, and to be able to rebuild and to make those bones strong and not weak and weary. And sometimes we just get so overwhelmed with stuff, and that's when we need to remember to get back into the Bible, or call a friend and just let them lift you up and quote some scriptures, or just build the, Mike has always said, but let's build the saints up. And that's what we need to do, because we can't have that doubt. We can't have that wavering. We really need to stay focused and have that commitment. And some of the stuff that I wrote down on commitment is it's a choice. No real commitment was ever made without someone's first choosing to make it. And we have to remember that. When we start having that doubt, we have to remember, no, we have this commitment. We have to walk forward. We have to stay strong. Even though it looks like things are coming crashing down on us and those waves are taking us and throwing them to and fro, that we need to remember that we have to stay focused on the choices that we make. The other one was requires personal responsibility. We can't say, oh, it's this person's fault because this happened in my life. We have to take that responsibility for our actions, our choices, the things that we do. The other one is it requires honesty. It's a promise. It requires a choice. Committing how to stick to your own goals during the good times and the bad times. So that was what I was just saying a few minutes ago. When we start going through these bad times and we're having these waves come and they're tossing us around, that we've got to remember that God is with us through the good and the bad. So Derek, how would you go through something if you were going through a bad time and you wanted to get back on the focus of having that commitment to God, but you were just being so overwhelmed? What would you reach out to do?
Pray, talk to somebody else. That's what I would do. But everybody else is different, mother. Every other person has their different ways on how they deal with something. But the main one that you probably honestly do would probably be talking to someone else about what you're thinking and all that. And I have a quote, Mom, that really it just spoke to me. You have what it takes. Don't ever doubt yourself. You have what it takes.
Yep.
But people just sit there and go, I don't. You're crazy. I don't have what it takes. You have what it takes. So why are you doubting yourself? Just doubt is something that we all have. Every single human being has it. But once you remove that doubt and you're walking strong with God, what's that one verse in the Bible? Is it Philippians 4:13? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So if you have the commitment with God and you can walk strong with God, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Doubt can only be removed by an action. It can be removed by one action. An action, multiple actions. It just can be removed out of a whole scenario. It could be like taken right out of that whole scenario. If you just don't fear the scenario, if you commit to something, if you commit with God, you can do all things through Him who strengthens you. And now let's move on to commitment. Commitment, I did look up the definitions for commitment. The state or quality of being, what's that one about? Dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. An engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. Commitment it brings freedom. Commitment, if you commit with God, you can do all things through Him. I looked up a couple of quotes, but you have anything, Mother?
2 Timothy 2:15. Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved and works who has no need to be ashamed, rightly handedly the word of truth. So we have to remember that God has us, and if we just dig into the Bible and we just find some stuff, and sometimes you can just Google something or look it up online or Bible verses and stuff like that, and some stuff will just pop up. And I know sometimes when you're in that moment and you're so overwhelmed, you don't want to grab that Bible, but most people have a cell phone or a computer that you can just type in something about what you're walking through. And I mean, there's times that I'll just Google something and say, what does the Bible say about that? Or what does the Lord say about that? And certain things will pop up. And it would be something that you could do quickly if you're at a job or if you're in your vehicle or whatever. I mean, I know if you're driving, you're not supposed to be using your phone, but if you're having one of these moments and you just need to take 2 seconds and do that, and it pops up and it changes your mindset, there's things that we can get quickly that can change things that we're walking through at that moment. So there's another one, Galatians 6:9, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due seasons we will reap if we do not give up. So a lot of people don't see something happen immediately. So they're like, well, why am I still walking through this? Why am I doing this? And then all of a sudden, it'll be a few days and they'll just give up on what they're trying to do because they feel like it's not doing anything. But if God says, if we don't give up, we will start seeing things happen in our life, and things will change and things will get better. It might not be exactly what we're praying for, but God will make the path, that light come back in, and we wouldn't be sitting there in the darkness. What do you think?
I agree with all that, Mom. I do agree with all that.
So what do you have?
I have two quotes pretty much, possibly 3. Motivation is what gets you started. Just motivation is what gets you started. Commitment is what keeps you going. Mom, remember how many times when I was doing football, I kept on coming home like, I don't want to go. I just want to be done. I just want to be done. Every single time. And Devin over here, he's like, you're an Odell. Odell, don't quit. I go, okay. So I continued to commit to football, knowing that I only got played during the 4th quarter of every single game until the very last game. Oh, okay. But I didn't like it, knowing that I was on the sidelines most of the game. I enjoyed it, but it was boring half the same time. Another one is decide, commit, focus, and then succeed. If you do all those 4 things, you'll succeed.
And you know what? You fought Devin on skiing too, but what did you do? You did a lot of those.
I decided, I committed, I focused, and I succeeded.
Because you did go down that hill, and you did.
Knowing that I was terrified. I was terrified to go down that hill. I was doubting myself during skiing.
Yep.
I doubted it because I'm like, I can't do this. I can't. I pick up too much speed. After a while of practicing and training and going down hills at Hanson Hills, oh, it was smooth sailing. Oh, I got it down fast. It was strong. Without commitment, you cannot have depth in anything, whether it's a relationship, a business, or a hobby. Without commitment, you can't have any of those. Mm-hmm. Without it. But if you have the commitment, you can have the relationship, you can have a business, you can have a hobby, you can have all that. All it just has to take is commitment. But in order to have the commitment, you also have to have the motivation to do it. If you don't have the motivation to do it, you don't have the commitment to do it.
And a lot of that is we need to trust that the Lord is there with us.
Yeah.
And Luke 1:37, for nothing will be impossible with God. So why are we letting doubt and fear and all this anxiety and troubles overwhelm us? Because for nothing will be impossible with God. So if we have God and we trust God, then how can we let everything else just overwhelm us and get us out of control? and just put so much heavy weight on us, because God has us. There's times that we might not feel it. And there's things that me and Mike have walked through in the last month and a half with his job and stuff. But we haven't walked in the fear. We've walked in that we know that God is with us. We know that he's going to lift us up and get us through whatever situation that we've been walking through. And is it right as of right now? Is it sometimes it gets a little overwhelming? It does. But we have to stay focused and just keep trusting God, because God's going to make that lighted path for us. And the job that is waiting for him is going to be there, and it's going to be a blessing for our family, for the church, for everything that we need to survive. We have to just keep trusting and just keep walking forward. And sometimes when we go through these trials, it makes us stronger in our walk with God. And the stronger we get in our walk with God, it's so much easier to have that strength than to end up turning around and having that doubt or letting stuff just smash us down and overwhelm us. So one thing that I learned in this whole little session tonight talking is that Derek needs to thank his brother Devin, because Derek's walked through a lot of doubt in his life.
Devin, if you're watching this, thank you. Thank you, Devin.
And Devin has lifted him up. And even though there's times that Derek's like, I'm not going to do this.
I just want to punch you in the face, Devin.
But Devin has got him to go out and do something, even if it's going out to eat. He's gotten Derek to do that. And Derek goes out and he has a good time. And Devin will say to me, just a second, Devin will say to me, Mom, why does Derek fight me so much on this? Because when he goes out, he has a good time.
Okay. So there's a whole story about how Devin, Trinity, me, all went out to B-Dubs. Just to go out and eat. Trinity, I'm sorry that they don't bring you your fries every single if you order them. It's just you. But I come out there. I'm like, Devin's like, come on, get ready. We're going to B-Dubs. I go, I don't want to go. Soon as we get out of the house and we're heading over to B-Dubs, it's me grabbing this and looking up some jokes. The whole entire time we're waiting for food, it's just me throwing up jokes. It's like from the house out. It's just jokes. I just like talking, but I don't like to do stuff. But then Devin says, nope, we're going. So I have to get the motivation to leave and go out, knowing that I don't want to. So I have to have the commitment to just do it, because I ain't going to win nothing. Every single time that I sit there and I go, I ain't going. I ain't doing it. I found this one quote. You always have two choices. Two. Every single time, you have always two choices. Your commitment versus your fear. Commitment versus doubt. Those are your two choices. You got to choose which one is the best one. And the best one is to choose the commitment. Because you can do anything through commitment. You can't do everything through doubt.
Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declare the Lord's plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and hope. We have to remember that the Lord is going to give us our future, and he's going to give us the hope that we need every day. Every day we should be waking up cheerful and putting that full armor of God on and just staying committed of our walk every day.
Another day, another dollar, people say. Another day to prove myself that these doubts aren't real.
But who is?
God is. Commitment, it takes one thing. Everything is practice. If you practice it long enough, you'll start to get better at it. If you just sit there and start committing to something, after a while, this doubt is just like, what is it? What is this doubt that you speak of? Because I haven't heard of it for a long time. I've been walking strong with God. I never had to doubt him. Everything that he has is a plan for me. And Mom, remember how you just said that you had to walk through some difficult times with Dad, losing FedEx and all that. Did you ever doubt that? Did you?
No.
Not one bit. You did not doubt that, well, what are we going to do? You stayed committed with God.
I did stay committed because me and your dad really walked strong through it all.
And look at where we're at right now. How Dad's going to see this next job, and he's focusing on this. Doubt is an anchor that holds you back. Thank you, Dad, for writing that in the comments. Doubt is an anchor that holds you back.
No, I really think me and your dad's walked strong through it.
I think so too. And Dad, remember how you just said doubt is an anchor that holds you back? Now, I'm gonna take this into a boat type of way. You gotta throw the anchor out to stop, right? To stop yourself. Once you have that commitment, you pull that anchor right out of that water. You pull that anchor right up. You remove that stopping point.
Okay.
You gotta pull it out. So whenever we're on the pontoon, we throw out the anchor to stop. As soon as we lift up that anchor, we have the commitment to go forward. We have the commitment to do stuff. Dad, you got to speed up. You got to go. You got a tube behind you. You got to throw them off. You got to be committed to throw them off, Dad. Of course, it's hard to throw me off because I hold on for dear life. But yes, commitment is an ability that moves us forward. Commitment is the sail that moves us forward. Yes, it is.
I like that. So what Derek was saying, that we can stop that in that moment, because like he said, you throw that anchor out and the boat will stop and it'll sit there in one place. But as soon as we pull it up, we go forward, and that's what God wants us to do. He doesn't want us to sit stagnant. He doesn't want us to go backwards. He wants us to go forward and be processing and moving in what he wants us to do in his walk for us. In Romans 12:2, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and capable and perfect. So we have to remember that God, we need to be transformed. We need to transform our minds.
Dad,
there we go again, right?
Are you hearing that?
Transforming you.
Are you hearing that?
Transforming you.
I have a feeling. Dad, that's a sign. That's a sign, Father. That is a sign.
So in all of this, in the Romans 12:2, we're not supposed to be in this world. We are not supposed to have this mindset of what the world is doing, what's going on in the world. We need to renew our minds every day, stay focused on what God's plan is for us, and keep walking forward, and not set that anchor. Well, we might need to put that anchor down for a minute or two.
Yeah.
To get refocused.
But as soon as that happens, you got to pull it right out.
Yes.
God wants us to move forward, right? On cars, every single mirror in that car is always small. What is the biggest thing in that vehicle? The windshield. And what do the wipers do?
Yep.
They clean the windshield.
And your dad's talked about that we're supposed to be looking at that big picture.
So when it rains, if it snows, if it's terrible weather, the wipers are what clears the vision so you can keep on moving forwards. You just got to keep on moving. That's all you got to do, is as long as you're moving forward. But yes, if it is terrible weather and you can't see 5 feet in front of you, yes, stop for a second. Give it a second to see how this weather will change. See if it will change. See if it will stop. See if it will calm down. But after that, turn those windshield wipers back on and start driving again. You got to keep on moving forward.
And then the other one that I was talking about, conforming to this world and transforming and renewing our minds. John 16:33. I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So we have to remember that all the stuff that we're going through and the things that we walk through every day, that we see every day that's going on now, we can't keep focused on that. God's overcame all of this, all of the stuff that we think that, oh my goodness, how are we going to make it through this day? Or how are we going to supply our needs for this or that? God's has already overcame that, and he's going to take care of us. He already has the plan for us. If we stay focused and committed to God, God's going to take care of us. He's going to show us the ways and keep us focused and keep us moving forward. And like I said, there might be times that we have to throw that anchor down to sit steady for a little bit, but he's going to show us what way we need to go. I know there was a time that people have said, are you going to turn this way or turn that way? And sometimes, so we need to put that anchor down. We need to think, do we go right or do we go left or do we go straight? But God is going to show us, if we stay committed and stay in prayer and stay in our right mindset, the Lord's going to show us a way to go and to move forward on whatever angle it is.
I like this quote that I just found. Don't fear commitment. I fear wasting my time. If you fear commitment, all you're doing is wasting your time. Because now you're doubting yourself on, can I do this? Can I not? If you don't fear commitment, and you fear that you're wasting your time, then you're on the thing where, am I just gonna waste my time on sitting here and doubting myself for hours at a time, or am I going to finally commit to something and move forward? You have anything else, Mother?
Proverbs 16:3. Commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established. So see, all these things that I keep reading, if we just stay focused on the Lord, it's like we just got to trust that he has that plan for us. It's like the more I read all this stuff, it's like, how can we even sit there and have doubt or have that wavering or anxiety?
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
I am right. How every single time Mom walked in my room, she's like,
what do you think of this, Derek? What do you think of that?
What do you think about this? I go, Mom, I don't doubt. I never, yes, I did doubt stuff. But now I don't really doubt anything. Because I know that everything is something that God has a plan for. I don't doubt it. I just move forward. Sometimes, I'll stay back. I'll process something. I'm a person that likes to process stuff before doing stuff. But I never doubt it. I go, okay, is this what God wants me to do? After I have a feeling, yes, it is, or yeah, it is, I start moving forward. That anchor probably goes down I think once a day. After that, it's just me moving forward.
But a year ago, where would it have been?
A year ago, That anchor probably would have been dropped 20 times a day.
Or you would have just did what Derek felt.
Yeah, or I would just do what I wanted to do.
And now the Lord's taught you how to slow down and refocus and
Yeah.
think and process.
Yep.
So that's awesome. I mean, I'm not saying that none of us are ever going to feel broken or weary or doubtful on certain things. But because I think we're all going to have that, because we all live in this, we all live in that flesh. But we can step it out and say, you know what, we know we have God, and if we're committed to God, like I said, if we just take our time and we get into prayer, get into the Bible a little bit, speak a word into our phone and let it pop up, however you guys look up stuff, God's going to renew our minds and keep us focused and keep us back on path. But I'm not saying that none of us get broken or weary or stumble. But I am saying that if we stay committed to God, God is going to light that path and show us the way.
Mom, what was that one movie that we watched? The new Jesus movie.
Jesus Revelation, was it?
I can't remember what
the one that we just watched.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, that movie is fantastic. The new Jesus movie, the 2023 one. Watch that.
I think it was Jesus Revelation.
That shows you how much doubt has went in, and from the doubt comes commitment. Mm-hmm. That movie is doubt and commitment.
And what did the people that had doubt, what did they do? They were doing drugs and alcohol and doing everything in their flesh and in their own way.
Because they thought that it was the right way.
Right. And when they got a grip on what they were doing and they started seeing the lighted path that God was giving them, the grace, it's like that guy turned around and at the end he was baptizing all these people. Mm-hmm. And he was fully committed. In the beginning of the movie, he was doing drugs and doing whatever he felt to do to get out of his own mind, to get out of that mindset that he had. Because he was also overwhelmed and broken, that he was trying to find a way out. And the only way that he could find a way out was to do the drugs and the alcohol and that stuff. And then all of a sudden he met this person and it turned his life around. And at the end of the movie, he took over the ministry and he was baptizing people and he was bringing people to the Lord. So yeah, it was amazing, amazing show. So
I'm glad that it popped up on that website that I like to use.
Yep. So you got any more?
No, I do not. Besides, I'm going to end with this. This is the ending quote that I'm going to use. Commitment is an action, not a word. It's not a word. Don't even think that it's a word. You want to know what a word is? Doubt. That's a word. Fear. That's a word. Commitment, it's an act, not a word. It's not. Because when Jesus was whipped and beaten, people died from that happening to them because they would lose so much blood. But Jesus knew that God had something for him. And yes, when he was hung on the cross, God did turn away because he couldn't look at the sin. He couldn't look at it. So he had to turn away. But Jesus knew everything. Jesus knew what was going to happen. He was prepared for what had happened. When they had the Last Supper, he even said that somebody here will betray me. Somebody here will betray me. And it happened. It happened. He was betrayed. He was hung on the cross. Now, Mom, wouldn't you think this was weird? Jesus was a carpenter, right?
Yep.
He built stuff out of wood.
Yep.
What was he hung on? Something made out of wood. He died from something that he makes, out of material that he uses to make stuff. It's just weird how that happens. The stuff that you don't think or the stuff that you work with, could be something that could just kill you instantly. Like being at Mancino's, if that oven like just burst up into flames, that building could be like gone within seconds and people could still be inside that building. It's just something that you always got to have that thought, like, will this happen? But you can't doubt it.
Well, we have to walk forward.
You got to continue walking forward. You got to continue with that job. You got to continue doing what you got to do.
Stay committed.
Stay committed. That's all you got to do. Commitment is an act, not a word. Alrighty. I'm going to end it here and hope you all
See you guys later.
see you guys later, and God bless.